Moin, ihr wunderbare Menschen des Interwebs. Ich begrüße euch ganz herzlich zurück zu meinem Let's Play von The Great Ace-Attorney Chronicles. Wir haben im letzten Part Episode 4 abgeschlossen und werden heute mit Episode 5 beginnen, welches die letzte Episode vom ersten Spiel der Chronicles ist. Und diese heißt The Adventure of the Unspeakable Story und auf dem Bild sieht man schon The Hound of the Baskervilles. Ich glaube, das ist die bekannteste Geschichte von Sherlock Holmes, oder also zumindest eine der bekanntesten Geschichten von Sherlock Holmes. A hound it was, but not such a hound as any mortal has ever seen. Its eyes glowed with a smoldering glare, the whole of its ox-sized body was outlined in white-hot flames. Ich möchte jetzt nicht spoilern von der, also zumindest von der Baskerville-Story, von der originalen Sherlock Holmes-Story. Was jetzt hier in den Chronicles passiert, weiß ich nicht. Aber jetzt die originale Story von Sir Conan Doyle möchte ich jetzt nicht spoilern. Aber es ist ein sehr, sehr cooler Fall, weil auch dieser Hound eben, dieser Baskerville-Hound, sehr, sehr cool geschrieben ist tatsächlich. Hat mir sehr, sehr gut gefallen. Wurde auch öfters verfilmt, glaube ich. Und es ist auf jeden Fall wert, einmal das Ganze auszuchecken. Aber bevor es jetzt hier weitergeht mit großem Palaver, würde ich einmal sagen, wir tauchen ein in Episode 5 und haben hier 17 Kapitel und fangen natürlich wieder ganz von vorne an. Natürlich. Auf geht's.
ホームズの鋭い声が濃い霧の壁の向こうから聞こえてきた。私は霧のまとわりつく拳銃の撃鉄を起こして息を潜めて待った。永遠とも思える静寂、そしてその瞬間は突然訪れた。霧の中から見たこともない巨大な獣が私の目の前に躍り出たのだ。それは確かに犬だった。しかし明らかに尋常ではなかった。目はこうこうと燃え上がり、猛牛ほどもある体躯に獰猛な青白い炎をまとっている。血を這うような息遣いとうなり声、私はあまりの恐怖に震え上がった。見たまえワトソン、ホームズは魔獣を見据えて言い放った。こいつこそバスカビル家に代々語り継がれる伝説の魔剣なのだ。
Our first 2 months in London passed by in a flash. In that disconcerting courtroom experience we were first thrown into on the day we arrived in the country, and then Soseki-san's terrible ordeal that had followed closely behind, we had emerged victorious. However, there then came an abrupt end to our opportunities to appear in court. Which was hardly surprising, of course, since I was nothing more than an amateur, an unknown student of law from a faraway land. So life in our little office was very quiet. That is, until it was shattered one day by that fateful telegram. Naruhodo's legal consultancy. That morning, I was woken by the unreserved knocking on the door by the telegram boy, but after he had gone, Susato-san's behavior became very obviously strange. Susato-san?
Yes. It is time to leave for court already. Let me see. What case is it today?
I don't think I'm scheduled to defend anyone at the moment, am I?
Oh, no, of course not. How silly of me.
But I think Iris said she would make us breakfast this morning. So, shall we go down to Mr. Sholmes' suit?
Yes. Iris makes the most delicious breakfast food.
She does, doesn't she?
And once our bellies are full, we can leave for court in fighting fit form. Let me see. What case is it today?
Here we go again. So, what was it about? The telegram that was delivered this morning, I mean.
Oh, a telegram? I don't know what you're talking about.
Sorry, but you're not going to get away with that.
Well, I didn't think I would. Actually, don't give it a moment's thought. It's nothing interesting. Boring, in fact. It was just a boring old telegram.
That's 3 times now that she's tried and failed to convince me it was nothing.
I promise that I will tell you about it at some point.
Alright, I understand. I suppose Soseki-san will have arrived back in Japan by now, won't he?
Yes, I should think so. He left immediately after that terrible ordeal. Which would mean he should have completed the voyage already or be just a few days away.
A fortnight ago we had that very long telegram from him, do you remember? Complaining of seasickness. But by and large, it seems the voyage has been being well.
Is something wrong, Naruhodo-san?
I was just wondering what might have become of Soseki-san had he stayed in London, that's all.
You mean, as regards Lord Fenziques, the Reaper?
Yes, I can't help wondering if seasickness would have paled into insignificance in that case. What is it? What is it they say? That no one who stands in the dock can be saved from the Reaper, right? Like the way that nightmarish trial ended on the very day we arrived in London.
Even 2 months on, the cause of that dreadful fire is still a mystery.
Yes, but at least Soseki-san is safely out of the country now. Presumably, that means.
That the curse of the Reaper can only take effect within the confines of the city of London, perhaps.
Even if that's the case, it's little comfort. I have a terrible sense of foreboding.
If the legend of the Reaper is to be believed, it would mean he wields the sword of justice himself.
Come to think of it, I wonder what he's been up to these past 2 months. Surely not wielding that sword again, more acquitted defendants.
No, I don't think so. Apparently Lord Fenziques hasn't appeared in court once since our last encounter. Yes, since Soseki-san's trial, he's withdrawn from judicial service again, it seems.
Really? Just like before, when he wasn't seen in court at all for several years. So, it's just been me who's had to face him and his recent spate of trials then. Just my luck.
I wonder if luck doesn't come into it.
Sorry, what was that?
Oh, nothing. Never mind.
Okay, dann würde ich einmal sagen, holen wir unser Frühstück und gehen in die Showrooms.
Morning, Bruno. Morning, Susie. Good morning, Iris.
Iris?
What is it, Bruno?
What is that terrible noise? It sounds like a cat being strangled.
Ah, yes, you noticed that, did you? Hurley isn't in the best form this morning, it seems.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Sholmes.
Good morning. Good morning to die, perhaps. Has something happened, Mr. Sholmes? You look miserable, and the way you were playing the violin before... My analytical mind is dead. Music is dead. The world is dead. Damn this blanched existence! That's all it is, my dear fellow. Nothing of consequence.
I'm afraid I don't understand.
Well, Iris, isn't it time we ate some dry toast and insipid coffee for me, if it's not too much trouble? Pizza! Aww. Oh look, it's... Oh ne. Wagahai? Ist das nicht die Katze von, Soseki?
Good morning, boy.
It must be some sort of tiny door for cats to use. But how did he get there?
Well then, everyone, time for breakfast. Oh, wonderful. Let me help you, Iris.
It would indeed be a fine day to die. I knew something looked different. Something's missing from Mr. Sholm's desk. You seem to be very unhappy this morning, Mr. Sholmes. What's happened? It used to be the case that in my hands, this violin sung like the dawn chorus. Its melody tones would make flowers bloom. It would. But now, the muses are unamused with me. The goddesses of music have thrown me over.
Whatever do you mean, Mr. Sholmes?
4 hours I have bowed, 4 days even. Through the night I have endeavored to no avail. That sound, my tone, is lost. That brilliant, clear, unwavering tone, gone forever, no more. Residuals of unbridled emotion.
Well, you haven't been practicing much lately, have you, Hurley?
Don't worry, I'm sure it will come back to you in time. Heed my words, Mr. Naruhodo. The goddesses of the arts are fickle. One day they bestow genius on a man, the next day unmercifully withdraw it. Oh dear. Why is this happening to me? If they take the turn I have for the violin from me, what is left, for pity's sake? What is left? Deduction perhaps? Isn't that what you're known for?
Mr. Sholmes, I don't like to pry, but... your desk looks rather empty today.
Oh, well done, Miss Susato. Your observational skills do you credit.
Oh no, Mr. Sholmes, they pale into insignificance when I compare to yours.
You would struggle not to notice, wouldn't you?
You mean Hurley's great analytiscope? That's at Windy Banks now.
Sorry? It's at Windy Bank?
No, Windy Banks. The pawnbrokery.
Pawn? What? You mean you've pawned that enormous machine of yours? It has some considerable value, you see, quite undeservingly.
But isn't it a very important machine for your work? I do wish you had consulted us if your situation had become so desperate. I should have gladly passed what little income I have to you.
Dear madam, things are far from desperate.
But the pawnbroker has your wonderful machine. How can it be anything but desperate?
Making use of a pawnbrokery is quite ordinary here in London, I assure you. It is. It doesn't sound ordinary at all. It would seem that neither of you fully understand how pawnbroking works. What's to understand exactly? What did you mean when you said we didn't fully understand how pawnbroking works? To the people of London, pawnbrokeries are akin to banks.
Banks?
On Mondays, merchants relinquish their finest jackets and trappings to their pawnbroker of choice. With the money they receive in return, they are able to trade happily through the week.
And then on Saturdays, they go to recover their things using the money they are earned. I had no idea. This has been a fascinating lesson for us. Everyone does it, you see, especially people in inner London.
And should they have money to spare, they would purchase another fine jacket. No, not to wear obviously, but to pawn, should the need arise.
Oh, ingenious. So whenever we have something that's getting in the way, we leave it at Windy Banks, you see?
A pawnbrokery can be thought of as an extremely secure vault. I would have thought that even pawnbrokers are different here in Great Britain.
Of course you have to watch Hurley with it. Sometimes he pawns things he really shouldn't. Don't you, Hurley?
What does it matter? The world is dead to me now. Kann ich ihm was zeigen? Wirklich, ich würde ihn gern irgendwie aufheitern. Mr. Natsume's cat seems to have settled into his new home then.
Oh yes, and I've become very attached to little Waggy.
It would appear his previous owner is completely forgotten to him. Cats are unfeeling creatures. Their muse is empty as the hearts of the muses.
If Mr. Natsume had no intention of taking Waggy back to Japan, I wonder why he kept him in the first place.
I expect he would have taken him if he could. But pets are strictly forbidden on board steamships in our experience.
And for good reason. Terrible things can happen if the rules of passage are not obeyed. Well, I don't mind, because Waggy is adorable.
Aww. Yes, he really is. Oh yes, what about the door? I don't remember seeing that tiny thing in the main door before. Where did that come from?
Oh, you noticed? You're observant, Runo. Look, I used this. It's my latest invention.
What is that?
I call it the Cat Flapper Match. Gosh, a machine for making doors just for cats? That's right. It can make a cat flap for a little furry friend like Waggy in seconds. And it can do it in any door at all. No matter what it's made of, it's very powerful, you see.
Wouldn't it have been quicker just to make the cat flap rather than making a machine to make the cat flap?
Well, yes, maybe, but now I can make cat flaps anywhere I like. Oh, I think it's wonderful. You must make one for us in the door of our office upstairs, Iris.
She really knows how to come up with unconventional inventions, this girl.
What was that?
Es hörte sich sehr schmerzhaft an. What was that?
Oh no! Tangled up! Waggy tangled up in your violin! I think he thinks it's a toy.
What's he doing to it?
Oh dear, Mr. Shum's precious violin.
Why should I care? What? I shouldn't be surprised. If the cat is a more accomplished musician than I now.
Mr. Shams really is in poor spirits, isn't he? Well, anyway, I will put it back where it lives, shall I, Hurley?
Out of the cat's reach, if possible. Maybe we should assess the damage. Examine. So this is the violin, is it? It's a Stradivarius, one of the finest violins in the world, made by the renowned Italian luthier Antonio Stradivari. Oh, I see. It doesn't really look like anything special to me. I happened upon it covered in dust, languishing in a pawn shop down a nondescript back alley. The broker had no idea of its value, so I was able to purchase it for a mere 55 shillings. How honorable of you. And until today, it has been my faithful companion in every great Pagani-inspired performance I have made. I ask you, is there reason to live in a world devoid of music? To tolerate this blanched existence? No. There is none.
Mr. Sholmes.
What, dear madam? What? My thoughts are preoccupied with fancies of release from this dull routine.
Well, it's about the violin. It looks very different to normal, don't you think?
What do you mean, Miss Susato?
Oh, Susie's right. Yes, the tone of the wood is completely different. And that's not all. I'm sure there was no crack here before.
Wait, it's not even the right size, is it? What's this?
I'm terribly sorry to have to tell you this, Mr. Sholmes, but that instrument isn't a violin at all.
Then what?
I believe it's an entirely different instrument called a viola. Oh, Mr. Sholmes, are you right?
You're right. You're quite right. This isn't my faithful Stradivarius. So what? Pray, is this piece of stringed flotsam not your faithful performing partner, then?
Ah, I see what must have happened.
You do, Iris.
This is just a simple mix-up.
Sounds like Iris might be able to tell us exactly what's happened if we ask her. Ich mag den Soundtrack von Iris. Die Theme-Musik ist nicht cool. What did you mean by a mix-up, Iris?
Well, you see, this viola, I mean, was at Windybank's until last week. At the pawnbrokers?
Not Mr. Shum's beloved musical partner. There is a proverb from the East, with which you are no doubt familiar, my dear fellows. Always let a beloved child trouble.
Yes, indeed.
So you sent your beloved violin to the pawnbrokers in the hope that it would experience personal growth?
Oh, what a wonderful idea.
Last week I pumped my great analytoscope in order to release my precious instrument, but it would appear Mr. Windybank mistakenly furnished me with this tawdry fiddle instead. But my ears cannot be deceived by the hollow timbre of this piece of timber. No, but your every sense was deceived by the fact that it just had strings. A fine state of affairs this is, and why I always say, Mr. Naruhodo, never trust a pawnbroker, they will try to fiddle you every time. But earlier you told us that you could think of a pawnbrokery as an extremely secret vault. Come, Mr. Naruhodo, dilly-dallying will get you nowhere. Sorry? Crunching your toast with that wasted aspect. Pressing your coffee so obtusely. Are you not a little embarrassed by your own conduct, considering the urgency with which we are faced?
We must visit Mr. Windybank's brokery at once. That's right, isn't it, Mr. Sholmes?
Precisely, Miss Susato, without a moment's delay. But I haven't finished my bacon and eggs. My dear fellow, surely you do not still intend to crunch your bacon with an increasingly vacant aspect, to thrust your egg ever more obtusely? Alright, say no more. Let's go then.
Don't worry, Runo. I would be happy to heat it up for you again later.
Oh, thank you, Iris. As it happens, I'm rather curious to see what a British pawnbrokers looks like. Okay, dann geht es also ab zu dem Pawnbroker, um zu sehen, ob wir die richtige Stradivari von Herrn Sholmes hier wiederbekommen. Aber das machen wir erst im nächsten Part. Ich finde es tatsächlich super schön, dass man hier wirklich richtige Interaktionen zwischen den Charakteren hat. Also, dass du richtige Unterhaltungen hast, wo das nicht immer gleich um den nächsten Fall geht. Das ist nämlich was mir so ein bisschen, wenn ich jetzt so die Spiele miteinander vergleiche von Phoenix Wright, von der Trilogie und jetzt Great Ace-Attorney, du hast sehr viel mehr Tiefe bei den Charakteren durch diese ganzen Unterhaltungen. Natürlich unterhält sich Phoenix auch mit Maya oder mit Gamshow und so, aber ich finde, dass das halt jetzt in den Chronicles schon ein bisschen tiefer geht. Und dann nicht gleich so, okay, ein paar Sätze gewechselt und dann sofort geht's weiter zum Fall. So kommt mir das dann manchmal vor, wenn ich jetzt eben die beiden Games miteinander vergleiche. Und deswegen hat mir das hier sehr gut gefallen und ich bin mal gespannt, wie das Ganze dann im nächsten Part weitergehen wird. Wie gesagt, hier gibt es jetzt erstmal einen Cut. Ich bedanke mich ganz herzlich fürs Zusehen, hoffe ihr hattet Spaß und wenn ihr mögt, sehen wir uns sehr, sehr gerne im nächsten Part wieder. Bis dahin, ciao!